Hey, what is going on, guys? TalkNorwichCity here, back for the second episode of the TNC podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes and YouTube. If you are watching, hello on YouTube, hello on iTunes and hello on SoundCloud. Chris,
hello.
First week, it was a good one, went down well.
Did it?
Yeah, it did. So thanks, first of all, to everyone who watched. We are now on iTunes, so you can subscribe on there. We'll touch on that later on, but a slightly more negative schedule this week.
Slightly, Jack.
Yeah. It all went in the nicest way possible. Tits up, didn't it?
It did. It did. I thought, well, what can you say? We were shambolic from start to finish. I knew it'd be a difficult game against Wednesday. I said before the game I'd take a draw, and obviously you would after that, wouldn't you? But no, absolutely horrendous. Everything about that game was horrendous.
I mean, we're going to be talking about the Bristol City game a bit later, and the way this has worked is basically you might be watching this after the Bristol game has happened, so we will touch on that later, but at the moment we are going to be talking about the Sheffield Wednesday game and the game that kind of killed us off. Before it, we said, after the Ipswich game, although we drew, it was a positive performance, you could say. I know you had different, but we still drew that game, we didn't lose, and it did put us in a position where we could have really pushed on. We didn't. There was a stat that said we now haven't beaten the current top 10 at all this season.
That's why we're not going up. Why we're not going up. It's as simple as that.
I mean, against Wednesday, we take an early sort of... Sheffield Wednesday take the lead quite early on, defensively all over the place. They score another one, but you get back into the game through Jerome 2-1. We actually had a few chances after that to get it back and go into 2-2. Do you think this is almost a mental weakness that we just can't seem to, when we go behind, get back into games?
Yeah, I think we've lacked the mental strength and grit all season. We mentioned it last time, Jack. As soon as we go a goal down, it's almost game over now, and that's such a shame. And I think it is. Of course, the players are on the pitch doing a job, but I don't think that the manager is or can inspire these players anymore. I think he had a great impact at the beginning. Obviously, Wembley, we'll never forget that, of course. But can he inspire these players now? The answer is no.
At the moment, though, it does look, when you're watching this, Alex Neil's press conference was on Monday. He seemed very downbeat. So did Johnny Howson. But I still think that Alex Neil believes that he is pretty secure in his job.
All right, well, fair enough.
But
he's not, though, is he?
Well, I think he is.
I don't think he is. I think the board would be crazy not to review the situation.
It's all well and good saying they'll review the situation, but it doesn't mean they're going to sack the manager.
I think, well, I know for a fact, every single person that watches and listens to this knows for a fact, Jack, that if we do not get in the playoffs this season, it is a complete, utter failure, and might be harsh, but it is a disgrace. With the squad we've got, it is an absolute disgrace.
So where does the blame lie then? Because you've got a manager here who is clearly underperforming, and for whatever reason that isn't getting the same results that he was a few seasons ago. You've got a set of players who, on paper, are very talented, but for whatever reason aren't gelling. Jerome said there's a distinct lack of respect for each other, for the coaching staff. Yeah, we'll get onto that in a minute. So where does the blame lie? Is it Alex Neil? Is it the players? And in the summer, if Alex Neil is still in charge, is he the man to take us forward?
I think everyone needs to take the blame. I think everyone needs to take the blame, Jack, because the players have thrown Alex Neil under the bus at the beginning of the season. Fact.
Yeah.
Alex Neil hasn't made the right tactical decisions. Fact. And he's not inspiring the players at all. We've had we've had two chief execs this season.
Jez and Steve Stone.
Jez and Steve Stone. So there's that.
And currently don't have a CEO.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a complete lack of stability, and as a collective mix, Norwich City have been a mess this season. And now, I believe Delia and Michael are going to get a grip on things. I think they're going to change the club culture back to what it was. I hope they do anyway.
What was it?
It was a family club that worked hard and fought hard. And that goes. That doesn't just stop with the players, Jack. I'm talking about the staff at Norwich City. I'm talking about the fans. There's no feel-good factor at all. Even at the start of the season, there wasn't really that genuine belief that we'd go up, right? It was always like, oh, we got Alex Neil, so it might be a bit dodgy. And this is it. And this is one of the things that is absolutely crucial. We need a manager with experience that can inspire the players. We need Delia and Michael to say, right, this is the club culture, this is where we're at, and this is what we're doing for next season. And for me, which is what we might go on to talk about it more, Jack, is we have to start playing youth players now. Those stars that are the third best team in the league haven't done it. They haven't done it. And you look at the likes of Maddison, Godfrey, Jacob and Josh, of course, are ready. Toffolo, I said it and got slated for it. I'd much rather Toffolo than Olsen, of course. Olsen's buggered off. What a surprise. Hip, hip, hooray. And the other thing I said as well, Jack, which I got slated for, which would be interesting to get the opinion of the listeners, is Declan Rudd. So we've had some shouts of, let's get McGovern back in now. What about Declan Rudd? He cares about this football club. And he's up for it. Why give him a chance?
Yeah, well, we did give him a chance last season. It didn't go great, did it? So,
well, that was in the Premier League.
It was in the Premier League. Anyway, let's touch on Cameron Jerome, his post-match interview, which I wouldn't say went viral, but it's certainly one of the most entertaining interviews this season, and certainly
can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, it certainly showed what we've all been thinking really this season, in which we've all said from 3 months ago, 4 months ago, that we feel that Alex Neil has lost the dressing room. I think that was pretty evident that Jerome was touching on that. A lot of people were saying, basically, what Jerome's word for word was, we lack respect for our teammates and the hard work that the coaching staff does for us not to perform them duties and
ignore
tactics
orders.
on the
That was
pitch.
the other thing.
Ignoring orders is a certain lack of respect. He wasn't saying that they lack respect kind of directly. It was because they're losing games and because they're not carrying out instructions, there's a lack of respect, and it's because of the hard work that's going in and that isn't showing. So Cameron Jerome clearly cares about the football club, and I think his recent performances have shown that he does have quality in this division.
Yeah, definitely.
What did you make of that Cameron Jerome post-match interview after Sheffield Wednesday?
I loved every second of it, because it's what I've been crying out for all season. Someone with some guts, someone with some honesty, and someone that actually just wants to put their hands up and say, you know what, I want to tell the fans right now how it is. I do feel that the players that have come into press conferences before and after games have kept to the script.
Yeah.
Jerome's gone, you know what, sod this. This isn't right. I'm just going to tell the brutal truth now, because it was do or die at Wednesday.
Yeah.
Season's gone now, so tell the truth. Cameron Jerome done that, and he deserves all of the credit in the world for that. I've seen some negative feedback, Jack, about Cameron Jerome's interview, and I find that absolutely outstanding. Don't you think it's great that players come forward and has just been honest?
Well, even Alex Neil said that he was chuffed that Jerome was honest, and I think Alex Neil realises that is what the fans want. And I think, to be fair to Alex Neil, he has been honest for the majority of this season. I know he said things that he has to say, but I think the thing for me was about this Cameron Jerome interview was, yes, it was refreshing, yes, it was nice, but we've heard it before. Russell Martin after Brighton, exactly the same thing.
Okay. But that's only twice.
Did anything change from Brighton? No, it didn't. If we hadn't have heard that interview from Brighton, then I maybe would have been more open-eared to it. And I fully respect Cameron Jerome for what he said, and I fully appreciate what he said, and I agree with what he said. But it's all well and good saying things in an interview, but that's not going to get you promoted, is it?
No, not of course, Chad. But Cameron Jerome, he did the right thing, and I'm really pleased that he did that, because he deserves the right to say how he feels, and it's nice to see that Cameron Jerome is in that pack of players. We mentioned it last week, Jack. There's a pack of Norwich players that care about the club. Russ, Evo, Ruddy, Cam Jam, Howson. Yeah, you see Howson today in his press conference.
You look at the core, there is the same core that we had the last championship
that's
campaign.
part of the problem.
Is it?
It is part of the problem in a way. Literally, this season, as we've touched on already, it's collectively, it's everyone. Yeah. And actually, I'm going to get some slack for this. I think you look at the fans haven't been respected, and I totally and that's another thing that Cameron Jerome didn't say, but I kind of feel like he wanted to, is that I don't think the players have respected the fans At the start of the season, there was an issue that they weren't coming over and clapping the fans, and now at least they're doing that and owning up to it and saying sorry. I wasn't actually at the game on Wednesday. I mean, I'm not sure if they did that.
I don't know.
Okay,
it's a minor thing, but it goes a long way to the travellers.
Yeah, exactly. So there are loads of problems. There's loads of problems, and they won't be resolved until next season.
So we now lay in a position where the playoffs are, barring a miracle, gone. We would be lucky to finish mid-table at this rate. I think that's fair to say.
Quite strong, but okay.
Yeah, just go with it.
Yep.
We haven't sacked Alex Neil at time of recording, and I don't think that will change in the next few days.
No way.
So it pretty much means going forward, we're going to be in the Championship next season.
Yeah.
We're going to have a lot less players than we currently do.
Good.
And we still have the same manager at this current time. In that situation, what do we do? Because next season's the big one. We're still going to have that parachute payment. I think that goes on for another season. Okay. If we don't go up next season, then there's real issues in terms of finance and stuff. So next season is the big one. How do we prepare now? And what do we do in terms of laying the foundation, you could say? Because it was an interesting thing, actually. My next door neighbour, who isn't really a Norwich fan, but he kind of just follows football.
Yeah.
I saw him as I was going to the gym today, and he said, it was a devastating display at Hillsborough, weren't it?
Yeah.
Weren't it, boy? I said, it was. And he was like, I think it was a good thing, though. I said, why do you think that? He was like, if we get promoted this season, we're going to come straight back down again. He said, we need another season to build. I think he had a point. I looked at him, I was like, he was then going to his allotment, handful of plants. I said, I'm not going to keep you, Rod. But
only in Norfolk.
But I think you have a point. Because we've been this yo-yo club for a few seasons now.
Yeah.
And we haven't really progressed since 2011, you could say. We're in the same place then as we are now. Pretty much. Same league.
Financially a lot better.
Yeah, financially stronger, but next season is probably going to be similar. Yeah. So is it a fact of just building now, setting the foundations right?
Yes, and that begins, Jack, with bringing in youth players. I think the idea behind the likes of Maddison, Godfrey, Toffolo was that we need to start getting them on loan now and bringing them into the mix. And I think that they're going to have to fast forward their plans a season early. Yeah. And I think from next season we're going to have to play some youth players. And they want it more. There's no doubt they want it more.
It's all well and good to say, chucking youth players in there because we've done that this season.
But I don't say that lightheartedly because I've always been one to say no, we need experience. But the experienced players haven't done it. They have not done it. And you look in the cup games this season, Jack. And to be fair, apart from obviously Leeds, of course, which by the way the experienced players played in, the youth guys put on a display, entertaining, scored goals, and defended well.
Yeah. So would you say it's almost a cultural shift in terms of how we even run as a football club? Yeah. I think Ed Balls has said that they're going to get a different style of CEO in.
Different structure.
So because it's all well and good saying, we'll chuck the youth in. We've done that this season with Jacob Murphy, and I know he scored nine
only
goals.
One player, though.
I know, but I know he scored 9 goals. But
he's done amazing, Jack. You're not going to slate him, are you?
A lot of fans have slated him. I haven't.
That is crap.
But I'm going to say, if youth, it's the same as in the Premier League. You need results week in, week out. The few games that Jacob Murphy hasn't turned up, fans have been on the back of him.
Which is horrendous. Absolutely shocking. No need for it. Young player, hungry, cares about the club. Yeah, all right, he might not track back, but he's learning. Give the boy a break. And by the way, what the hell is the defender doing? The defender should be there, covering Jacob Murphy's arse, knowing that he's not got the experience. He's got it in him. He's been our best player this season. He really has. He's been our best player. He scored the most goals.
No.
He's been the most entertaining.
Nelson Oliveira scored the most goals, I think.
Okay, all right. But for a young player, Jack.
Yeah. All right.
Show the guys some respect. I honestly urge all the fans out there, give the young guys more respect.
I completely understand the morals behind it. And if you are listening on iTunes and you keep hearing a slightly vibrating sound. That's Chris. I keep calling you Chris. I've said that in a...
Yeah, you said that last time, didn't you, as well?
Chris, yeah.
It's me punching on the table.
Yeah.
I'm getting quite aggressive.
Yeah, final point I want to make. Gary Rowett, still looking for a job, still unemployed.
Don't start me on this.
Do you want him?
No. Don't even ask me this question. I don't want Gary Rowett and Alex Neil are the same manager. All right, Gary Rowett has had an amazing, wonderful fairy tale experience at Birmingham. Alex Neil had that with Hamilton. Wake up. If you think Gary Rowett is the genuine replacement, I think he's desperate. I think Norwich fans are being quite short-sighted with this manager thing, right? I agree. Alex Neil shouldn't be the manager.
So who should be manager?
Gary Rowett is not the right man for the job.
Who is?
Someone with experience. Someone with experience that's capable of getting out of this league. And if we have to pay a bit more money, if we have to lure them out of another football club, let's do that. Let's play nasty. When was the last time Norwich stole a manager, apart from Paul Lambert? Never. Because we always take the cheap option, Jack.
Okay, so
Gary Rowett, he's not going to be there forever.
Okay, so you want an experienced manager?
Yeah, I do. And so do you.
At this moment in time, I can't think of any off the top of my head. Steve Bruce was thrown about, not doing a great job at Aston Villa.
What boy?
And Roy Hodgson. But if you're saying, okay, we're looking short term, you bring an experienced manager in. I don't know, Claudio Ranieri. I'm throwing it out there.
Fantastic! What a great manager!
But he'll only be here for a couple of years,
right?
So that's a very short term.
And by then, we would be in the Premier League. Let's go.
Where'd you go then? You go back to a Gary Rowett. You go back to a Gary Rowett.
No, we don't, Jack. We stay in the Premier League.
With who?
Look at Swansea, Southampton, West Brom. All of these teams, even blooming Burnley, are now looking like they might stay in the Premier League. To be fair to them, all of these teams have been yo-yo clubs. And they have established themselves. All right, Swansea struggling this season. They've established themselves as Premier League teams. There's no reason why Norwich City cannot be that football club if led and inspired and instructed by the right experienced manager.
So Alex Neil isn't the man.
No.
But you want to look long term and get an experienced manager in.
Yes.
Is there anyone out there who fills them credentials?
Possibly.
Who?
Well, first of all, we should actually scour Europe.
Yeah.
Rather than obviously next door.
But then surely then you're bringing in a person who hasn't got English footballing knowledge.
But it's about inspiration, Jack. It's a real key thing, right? It's experience and inspiration. So someone that's managed in, say, Italy or Spain for 3 or 4 seasons, why not?
So you genuinely think if we would have brought Gary Rowett in 3 months ago when we were still in the playoffs, we wouldn't have gone up this season?
It's halfway house, isn't it, Jack? I think it's a gamble. It paid off with Alex Neil, but I think to say, we'd definitely do it with Gary Rowett. Really? Would we? I don't know.
So I suppose now, if you look at,
don't get me wrong. If Gary Rowett came in, I'd be fully behind him. But I just don't think he's right for Norwich City. I don't.
Okay, so I suppose with everything that we've just said and taken in mind, Alex Neil is probably the right man to take us forward. He knows the club, experienced in England.
Does he know the club?
Well, he's been here
Is he experienced
3
in England?
years.
He's in
3 years.
No.
Come
on, you're winding me up now.
Okay. But I suppose if I'm Delia Smith, I would be saying, who by the way, Delia Smith is here. We'll open that up in a minute, that cookbook. Sold over 6 million copies. Seen in most kitchen.
Well done, Delia.
Yeah. She is a good old girl, isn't she?
She is.
Top girl.
And she puts up with a lot of, including from me, I've got on her back this season. But in fairness, she really cares.
How can you hate a woman who has inspired over 6 million people to cook?
How can you hate a woman that cooks the following?
Okay, so if you're on iTunes, we've basically got Delia Smith's, what's it called? Look, Complete Cookery Course. So basically this was the book that made Delia Smith famous, and one of your mates gave it to you as a Christmas present.
Yeah, this is a shout. This is actually a Derby fan. Actually, we need to talk about this, because we're building our set, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll get onto that. Basically, we're trying to think of a way for you guys to send things in to put on our table, because as you know, we like to have some food and drink. Today we've got Fanta Fruit Twist, which is incredibly high in sugar, but we don't like our teeth anyway.
Pretty awful.
So we'll get rid of it. Do you not like it? It's quite sweet. We've got some milk chocolate cake bars, and we've got some jelly babies. Now, I think we've got some questions from last week about our diets. As you can see, Chris is pretty ripped, but you obviously don't eat chocolate cake bars throughout the week, do you? You save for podcast night.
Yeah. I just want to act like I'm a
Anyway,
lad.
you were opening the Delia Smith.
Yeah, so there's actually, I think, curried lamb kidneys or something in there.
Nice.
All sorts of fantastic recipes there.
Oh, this looks nice.
I'd wholeheartedly recommend purchasing this book. At Delia Online is the Twitter tag. Delia, if you'd like to sponsor, we do love you.
Just some spare change for you, maybe like $100,000 a month.
No.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
I'd rather she put it in the football club than sponsored our videos.
Bloody hell, I wouldn't. $100,000 a month, you're telling that down. That's 2 weeks of Laffy's wages. That'd set us up for life. Crikey, I've just found an interesting one. Chicken with grape stuffing. Bloody hell. 110 grams of breadcrumbs, 4 pounds of roasted
I'll tell you what, you can't beat one thing that Delia does. One moment.
6 ounces of seedless grapes.
Delia Smith, poached eggs.
Yeah,
You cannot go wrong
that's
with
the
Delia
thing with
Smith
Delia.
poached eggs.
Even the simple things, she's nailed.
No, she's famous for the simple things, Jack.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to be touching on this for too long, but Delia's poached eggs, she actually describes the key thing about poaching eggs is the water shouldn't be volcanic. It should be slightly simmering.
Slightly simmering, yeah.
Before you turn it on for 8 minutes. Precisely 8 minutes. For anyone out there that wants perfect poached eggs, 8 minutes. Delia Smith, well done.
I think the thing that made Delia famous was she was...
Drunk at Man City?
she's heavily intoxicated when she cooks now. That's a horrible thing to throw out there, accusation.
Let's stop talking about Delia.
Yeah, but what she does is she makes it accessible to cook, which we love about Delia Smith.
Yes.
Anyway, Gary Rowett, Chris doesn't want him. Look, the managerial thing it's a boring subject now, isn't it? I think we've just got to accept that Alex Neil is going to be here for the rest of the season.
Yes.
Okay, moan of the week. What is your moan of the week?
I was going to say Gary Rowett.
Were you?
I was going to say that shout. What's yours?
Mine is players that seemingly don't learn from anything. We have been making the same mistakes for the past 4 months. We have played...
4 months? 4 seasons?
Literally, we have played tens, 50s, hundreds of games and made the same mistake. These guys are on the training pitch for 4 times a week.
Yep.
If I make a mistake in 5-a-side, I'm not making the same mistake the next week. These guys are on the training pitch for 4 times a week and they still don't know how to beat a first man from a corner, defend a corner, pick up a man. What are they doing? Honestly.
Have a drink, Jack.
I just look at them, I'm like, how are you doing this?
You can't put your finger on it because there's so many different things.
Did you see? I love Russell Martin, but did you see his defending for their third goal?
It was unfortunate.
He done a 720 spin. What's he doing?
I'm gonna. I don't know. I'm gonna get abused for this, but I'm gonna.
We've got ourselves back in the game. It's 2-1. A cross comes in. He does some kind of bloody pirouette that you'd see on Dancing on Ice.
Russ shouldn't have even been put in that position, Jack. In fairness,
all right, cool.
But he was in that position.
He was in that position.
But he actually cares, right?
I know he cares, but caring isn't going to take us up this season. And I just look at them players and I'm like, what are you doing all week? Like you just literally it's not hard.
They're not inspired.
I know. Just do the simple things.
Do they want to? Do they really want it?
You don't have to be inspired to run about a lot, to pass the ball from a 20-yard pass.
That's not going to get you. That's not going to win you games when you're 1-0 down at Hillsborough, is it?
Just do the simple things. Defending. I know defending is a scientific method, but just defend. Just put your bloody noggin on it.
Yeah, go on.
Anyway, what's your moan of the week? No, honestly, I
can't top that. I literally can't top that.
And the thing is, as well, we went 1-0 down. When did they score their first goal? Though? Like 11th minute?
Go on, Jack.
I tweeted, I was like, game over.
Go on.
And it was, wasn't it? 11 minutes gone, it's game over. Because I just know.
So I took a different approach. I went for just being funny because I knew I know. You know it's going to happen. So I was like, you know what? I'll have some Mr. Bean gifts. Because Mr. Bean summarised...
I love Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean really does summarise Norwich City Football Club.
You cake me. Yeah.
halfway there. I've actually got a lovely word that I saw tweeted. Sorry, I can't credit the person because I can't remember who I stole it off. But
that's what uni lad. That's their get out of jail free card. So I don't know who to credit.
Right.
Don't know how
so the word of the week. Instead of moan of the week, I'll go for word of the week. Omnishambles. Omnishambles. Okay.
Never heard of that.
Noun. British. Informal. A situation that has been comprehensively mismanaged, characterised by a string of blunders and miscalculations. That right there is the definition of Norwich City Football Club season. Omnishambles. Hashtag Omnishambles. If it shambles, Omnishambles. Get that as a hashtag.
Omnishambles.
Please, thank you. Anyway,
nice.
there you go.
So that was your,
right, that's moan of the week.
Right. Hype of the week. Is there anything that we can get hyped about? That's nice. Anything?
I loved hearing Gunny on the radio. Does that count?
Yeah, that counts.
One of the things that I really didn't like about David McNally was the total lack of respect for...
It was an omnishambles.
It wasn't on the shambles for not just ex-players, but legends of our football club that demand respect because they're legends.
Yeah.
And they're really good guys. And you know, it's great hearing the likes of Gunny come on the radio. And by the way, Mark Rivers has been on one with the commentary, and his tweet as well. I'm not sure if you'll be able to get that up, Jack, but he was going for it. And again, one of the things that I love hearing is I love anyone that is honest and truthful. I've got total respect for.
Yeah. So that's your hype of the week.
That's my hype of the week.
Brian Gunn.
That says it all because he played God knows how many years ago.
Yeah.
Go on, Jack. Scrape a hype out of the week. Come on.
Struggling. You know what my hype of the week was?
Go for it.
Alex Neil swearing in his press conference, which means that the BBC have to put explicit content and you have to be over 18 to listen to it on the iPlayer. I thought like they'd put it up and just like tick the wrong box. He actually swore in it.
Brilliant.
So that was that.
Good.
So all under 18s have now not been able to listen to the to the press conference on the iPlayer.
Amazing.
That's about it to be positive about, and it's not even positive.
No, you can't really be positive, can you?
No. Right, Twitter questions.
We've got
Twitter
so
questions.
many.
We have got so many. So basically, we tweeted out on the TalkNorwichCity account, and then Chris retweeted it, and I retweeted it, and we have got
thanks so much. Honestly, thanks so much for the questions because it was going to be entertaining.
So basically, we're not going to be able to get all these in.
Really? Let's quick fire them.
No, we're not going to be able to get them all in because I think a lot of them deserve our time. To be able to answer.
Okay, come on, Jack.
I'm trying to find them on my phone.
Scroll quicker.
Trying to find them.
Scroll like you're running back to scramble the ball away from the goal. Go on.
Bloody hell, I can't find them.
Come on.
I've gone back too far. Right, okay. Bailey Smith with a nice deep one. Where did our season go wrong? The starting it, kicking off.
There's so many different things for that. We've gone over that.
Yeah, it's a collective
Sorry
failing.
for the lack of answer.
At Awful Alex Neil says, when will Gary Rowett have enough of waiting for us and join another club? Soon?
I'm not answering that question.
Okay. Lucas Cook, if Alex was to go, who'd you like to see replace him?
Again, it's a tough one, but it has to be someone experienced.
Yeah. At Rafa Royalty, do you believe your away defeat to Newcastle was largely responsible for the downfall of your season? Yes.
Yeah, I do.
100%.
Yeah, well done, Newcastle. Thanks a lot.
Screwed it, yeah. 100%. And if you look back to last season when we lost 6-2...
Yeah, threw us off then as well, didn't it?
Completely derailed Alex Neil and what he was about. So, yeah, 100% think that...
Big defeats knock us off course, big time.
But just the manner of that defeat was so hard to take.
Yeah.
It was so hard to take.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if it mentally affects the players too much, but when you know you're about to go 7 points clear and then you're suddenly... But at the same time, I don't think it's an excuse to say, oh yeah, that's why we didn't go up.
Yeah,
because teams lose football games and in that kind of manner.
We accept that at the beginning of a championship football season, you're going to have a bad run. You
Yeah.
will have a bad run, but not as bad as we've been.
Matt Slater says, what are the top 3 most important things that need addressing in the summer anywhere in the club? New CEO, good CEO.
I think it's... don't know.
Because I think you've got to work from the top. Steve Stone, to be fair, I think would do a good job. Just get someone in that role.
Okay.
I know Steve Stone.
Well, that's obviously going to be sorted out.
I would say...
The football manager is up there.
Yeah. And I would say sack off Ricky Martin and completely reshape the
that's
recruitment.
Harsh.
I don't think it is.
It's so
Why is it
harsh? He's had one window.
Yeah, and it hasn't worked.
What do you mean it hasn't worked?
Did we bring in the necessary people?
No.
It hasn't worked.
We've replaced and not added.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yannick Wildschut on the bench.
But did he have enough time?
Well, I don't know. But
right, okay.
I don't really care, to be honest.
The 3 things are...
He should have never been put in that job in the first place.
The football manager needs to inspire the players. We need to use and consistently play youth players that care about our football club and are actually, by the way, really bloody talented. And get rid of the deadwood that we've wanted to get rid of for 3 seasons.
And I think, this is an interesting one. You know what? I think this actually might be my next door neighbour. No, it's not. At HP basically says, in the long run, will we benefit from the season? Has he got a handle
at HP? Is in HP subs?
No.
Oh, okay. That's
at
a shame.
Frogged Kermit. I think it's German.
Good.
Well, in the long run, will we benefit from the season? Help stabilise mentality, plus stop the yo-yo? I think we might. Scraping the barrel.
Yes. Yeah.
No, but you think about it, like it's an opportunity now to just completely reshape the way this football club works.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go. All businesses, sometimes they just have to go, look, we need to change our business plan. In our situation, look, we need to just change the way...
It's just not often in business that you have to rip all of the company out.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately what we're going to have to do. We're changing the company structure. We're changing in the CEO. We're changing the company's culture in, Delia and respecting
and that
the
is
fans.
A huge overhaul.
The ticket pricing issue. The Jez Moxie
and especially when you've got owners who are at the latter stages of their life. And, I think that implements into it as well.
I don't.
I think if you've got young owners, it would make it a slightly bit easier to change.
But Tom,
I know Tom is ready to go, and I'd love to get Tom on a video soon because I genuinely think he seems like a good
Tom
guy.
instills that youthful perspective, 100%.
All right, cool. Gary Field, is beer and cheesecake an acceptable podcast snack? And your predictions on our final league position?
No. It's not an acceptable snap.
That was lovely. Becky commented on the video. She wasn't happy with my comments.
I tell you what, I was in the doghouse. I was in the doghouse for that.
Why?
Because you slagged off my girlfriend's cheesecake.
I said it was your fault for the way you stored the cheesecake. The cheesecake was nice.
What's the question? Is it acceptable? I think we're just going to mix up the food each week. We've got some Jelly Babies, Fanta and cake bars, which is just, it's not exactly the
we don't eat like this all week. Like, you basically like broccoli and chicken all week.
Yeah, it's a bit boring.
And like, games. Get the games in.
Thanks, Jack.
Final league position.
7th.
No, really? 12th.
Yeah. Okay, actually, the more important thing is, will we finish above Ipswich?
Yeah.
Okay,
100%.
Fantastic.
James Hastings saying, where's the real problem of our season? I think we've touched on that.
Yeah.
Michael Ward saying, the board is riddled with the indecision, and yet Rowett is available. He wants to cry.
Rowett.
First of all, Michael, don't cry. Get some good food in you, and just remember that you've still got your health.
Life's too short to worry about Norwich City that much.
Oh yeah, because we know we'll always be crap. I really want to see Norwich in Europe though, so I can't lay back on that too much. Yeah, look, the managerial thing. We might devote a whole podcast to that. Awful Alex Neil then tweeted him back saying every Norwich fan wants to cry.
Someone really spent the time to create an account called Awful Alex Neil.
Yeah, and the profile picture is I have no idea what I'm doing with the Alex Neil thing. Fair play. Peter Hunter says, do you think he will drop most of the team and give players like Madison a chance? He didn't comment when asked about the lineup.
Unfortunately, I don't think he will.
No,
I think he will. I hope he'll bring in players now because he's got to realise that there's a lot of players on there that don't care. He's got nothing to lose anymore, really, is he?
Yeah. Now
we've got a mission statement here.
We've got a bloody essay from James. He says playoffs were the absolute minimum expectation this season. He hasn't delivered. Correct. Enough is enough. Correct. Sack him now, get Rowett in, and allow him to get his stamp on things before the summer. Sell half the rubbish in the squad and allow the youth a chance until the end of the season.
Correct.
Fans have been ignored for far too long. Surely the club can't ignore this. They need to release a statement ASAP about what's going on. Yeah. Look, we've touched on Rowett too. We've touched Rowett too much this podcast.
Have we?
Yes. Gary Rowett is bored of us. We are bored of Gary Rowett. Yeah. But I agree. I think the communication system between club and fans needs to change. The club are looking about that, and I think that has improved.
Yeah, it
since
will.
Moxley's gone.
It will.
That's just a slow burner, and hopefully we do get that. Loads of people saying top choices to replace Alex Neil. We'll get onto that when we do genuinely think Alex Neil will be sacked, but I don't think he will.
And when there's a real contender. Yeah, you can't. Gary Rowett's the only one available.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's desperate.
James Caps, which of Delia's delicious recipes has Chris cooked so far?
Well, poached eggs, of course.
Yeah,
and I am looking at the curried lamb kidneys as a top choice for Sunday dinner.
I think Delia would have been a popular go-to person for pancake day as well. Apparently, she's got like a on-point pancake mix.
Yeah.
That's that.
Well done, James. Thanks, James, for sending in the book.
Yeah,
by
nice
the way.
one. We'll be sure to get some other stuff on the set soon. Joe Denton with an interesting one. If we lose to Bristol City,
I saw this,
and Alex Neil doesn't go, will banners and protests be the only way to get the board's attention from fans? So I guess the question here is: are banners and protests an acceptable method of getting your voice heard?
Unfortunately, this season, in our situation, I think he might be right. And it's a shame, but I think he might be right. I've always had the opinion that it's really important when you've gone through a tough... Oh, thanks so much. I'll have a yellow and green one.
There's 20 grams of sugar per 4 jelly babies.
Is it really?
No.
Yellow and green. There you go.
Sorry,
where was I? I'm of the opinion that when your football club goes through a tough time, the leader, the top brass, should come out and say, this is where we're at, we're sorry, and this is what we're going to do about it. It's just key leadership skills.
Yeah.
To stay quiet, I don't think is the right way, really.
And just kind of go, it'll change soon.
Yeah, you need a bit of an uplifting kind of motivational almost message for the fans to tell them it's going to be all right.
Kirsty says, where can I buy one of those fabulous paintings featured in this week's podcast? So this is the painting, but Chris, talk to us about this painting.
So this painting is a one-off special piece called Wes Moulahan.
I love that.
And also, if you go on Kirsty Sims' Facebook page, who is a local Norfolk artist, you can also get your hands on a special edition Josh Moofy.
Nice. I'm trying to think if there's any other players you can put Moo.
Cow puns.
Yeah, like is there like a I've got one.
John Moody.
No. John Ruddy. Udders? John Ruddy. Rudd. And basically, what you could do is you could get Big John's face and just have udders coming.
Udders from Kirsty, there's a request.
I want John Ruddy with udders on his head.
That would be amazing.
Slight personal one to you, Chris, from Johnny Micklewright.
Okay.
Here's a question for you, Chris. Why do you cycle on pavements? You nearly took me out going down Prince of Wales Road. Have you been a reckless cyclist?
Okay. 2 points. Point one, as a cyclist, I'm now biking on the path because of the horrendous one-way system from Norfolk County Council in Norfolk, who have ruined they've absolutely destroyed the way that traffic works in Norwich. I'm not going to bore you with traffic talk. Well, actually I am, because I'm doing it right now. But basically, Norfolk County Council have well and truly cocked up Norwich City Centre. I'm now cycling, and yes, occasionally I may cycle on the path because it's too dangerous to cycle on the road. I'm sorry if I accidentally... Really?
Look down that lens, talk down that microphone, and pay Johnny a sincere apology because you nearly killed him.
Johnny, I am so sorry. I don't know when or why or how I almost killed you on my bike. Next time, let's have a high five. Thanks. Cheers,
Johnny. I also want to apologise for Chris's behaviour on our fine
I'm
city's
representing
roads.
the Talk Norwich City brand at the end of the day, aren't I?
Yeah, and
so
you're going out there
careful.
reckless on your bicycle, thinking you're the big man, and you're hurting people emotionally. Johnny went into work that day, and he wasn't the same man.
No. Sorry, Johnny.
Toby Grief saying no Godfrey or Madison in the under-23 squad. Does that mean they're involved in the Bristol City game?
Hopefully.
That'll be good, won't
Great
it?
shout. Brilliant tweet, by the way.
Yeah, you probably love that kind of like Columbo almost intricate
Yeah, I like that.
looking at squads.
Mm-hmm. Well
done. Jamie Neve, wow, this is a big question. Of the senior players at the club, who should be going and who should be staying? Let's say 4 players to go, 4 players to stay.
I'll do stay first.
Okay.
The most important players, in my opinion, spine-ish.
Yeah.
Johnny Howson, number 1 to stay.
Yeah.
Wes Houlihan, vintage, artefact, legend, Norwich City Club, mastermind.
Yeah.
He's got to stay too. Who else? I think I'd love to keep Pinto. I think Pinto is better than this
he'll
football
be.
club
He just
now.
loves Norwich City.
You know what? But brilliant, good. And who else to keep? I mean, obviously, to be fair, I'd love to keep Madison. If I was Madison, I'd be sniffing around other football clubs the way they've treated him this season.
Yeah. To go?
To go, the Bass.
Yeah.
Here for far too long, bless him. Michael Turner.
Bass. Oh yeah, he's still a Norwich player, isn't
Michael
he?
Turner, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is still a Norwich City Football Club
Bloody
player.
hell.
Carl Lafferty, he had half a chance, didn't really do it. I think it's his time to move on now. Who else could go, Jack? Are there any big ones? Is there anyone in that team, Jack, that you think, actually, you know what? I don't think you're worth your value.
Throwing someone out there who might not go down very well. Tete. Get rid. Average. Knees are gone.
He hasn't had a very good season.
Malumbu,
Is he
get
retired
rid.
from international football
Yeah,
now?
he did.
No. Malumbu has been a good player for Norwich this season.
Yeah, I'd say he has. Yeah, I agree.
He has, Jack.
So we're getting rid of Laffy, see you later, Basong, Michael Turner.
Tete would be a good squad player, though, Jack. I think
don't
it's
want
harsh.
squad players. I want players.
Yeah, but he's a squad player that's not poisonous.
No, I know. He is a nice guy, isn't he?
I'd actually quite like to see Stephen Naismith go.
Yeah.
And I think he will.
Yeah.
And I can't wait.
Who else?
God, that was quite harsh. Stephen Naismith has actually been okay.
Yeah.
I just love Pritchard. It's not hate. I'm not hating on Naismith. I just love Pritchard.
Yeah, I get you. I hear you. So that's all the Twitter questions we can fit in this week. And finally, let's do a little bit. Let's touch on Bristol City.
Okay.
We've touched Rowett enough. Let's touch Bristol.
God, we're going to get abused for all this touching.
I know. So basically we're uploading this podcast on the night of the Bristol game. So you might be watching this after the Bristol game, in which case...
Enjoy.
Yeah. Bristol, down the bottom of the table, haven't won since December the 3rd. Along came Norwich.
Yeah.
Is it?
Is there anything more that we have to say, Jack, really?
No. They've basically just come out and backed their manager as well, Lee Johnson.
Okay. I think we will win.
Really? I suppose, I've got it written down here.
Can't you see a Norwich win?
Yeah, a chance to paper over the cracks, question mark.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, kind of.
You can see it, can't you? Like a 1-0 win.
Yeah, and everyone's like, actually, playoffs are on. Sheffield Wednesday lose with 6 points off. Come on, boys!
Even me is a huge optimist.
I know it's not.
Oh God!
You know what? I can see happening. I don't know. Apparently, Tammy Abraham's going to be out injured. Who's their best player? By
the way, they were so poor at Carrow Road.
Yeah, but they were actually in a decent run of form.
But they were so poor. They were one of the worst teams I've seen at Norwich all season.
Yeah, and we only done them over 1-0. Just 1-0.
Okay.
I think I really don't know what to expect from Bristol.
Of course, we'd love a win,
don't.
but really, we're kind of saying we'll scrape a win.
Basically, from now until the end of the season, of course I care about results, but I care more about team selection, performance levels, and what is done off the pitch more than if we scrap a 1-0 win over Bristol City, personally. Because I think this season's done. I think even if we were to get in the playoffs, we're not going to win the playoffs. So for me now, it is preparation for next season, not embarrassing ourselves, laying good foundations, getting good habits down, getting the right players in the right positions, getting the right people in the right positions off the pitch,
and telling the fans and giving the fans a reason to. I know they've already renewed, but
it's just get excited again.
It's telling the fans it's going to be okay. We're going to turn it around next season, and that won't be instilled within the fans unless youth team players are played.
Yeah. I agree.
Simple as that.
So that is the TNC podcast, episode 2 complete. We have dissected the Sheffield Wednesday game. We have talked about Gary Rowett for far too long. We've moaned, we've drank,
shouted,
we've answered your tweeted questions.
We've read a cookbook.
We have read a cookbook.
I've sold some art.
Yeah, you should be on commission.
Thank you.
10%?
Hopefully.
Who knows? If you're on iTunes, subscribe. Basically, go on your podcast app, click subscribe, and that'll go into your podcast app automatically whenever we upload. If you're on YouTube and you're new to the channel, subscribe and like this video. Drop a comment about anything, Fanta, food, Delia, serious football talk. We'll read them. We'll reply to them. Chris, we're done. See you later.
Once upon a time, a fairy tale.